let's enjoy. Oh my days. Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. And welcome to the McLaren 675LT. Simple question today, folks. Could this be the best McLaren ever made? Many people say it is. Well, I've been given the keys to this one of one 675LT Carbon Series MSO limited edition to find out. And I've headed to my favourite road. Oh, listen to those whip cracks! Do you know, there are some days when I'm doing YouTube, I really do have to pinch myself, and today is very much one of those days. Now, I was here at Podium Place just yesterday doing some filming with motion simulation. If you've not seen that video already, I'll put a link above. And I was talking to the guys at Podium Place, and there's some beautiful, beautiful cars on site. And in the workshop that you can see from the Podium paddock, this car was down there, and I just happened to remark upon it because it is a beautiful, very rare specification. And they said, well, if you'd like to do a film on it, then come back. And luckily, yesterday it was raining, and today the sun's out, and I've got access to the car for just a couple of hours. Now, I posed the question at the beginning of the video, could this be the best car McLaren have ever made, the 675LT? I'm lucky enough, I've already driven a coupe version of this. Now again, if you're not aware, there were 500 coupes and 500 Spiders made of the 675LT. The nomenclature 675, that's the number of metric horsepower, 675 PS, and the LT stands for long tail, which is really a kind of homage to the long tail racing cars that we saw, I guess, from things like the F1 GTR at Le Mans. Now, in the best car McLaren have ever made category, I'm actually going to put the McLaren F1 to one side, because although it's a McLaren, I'm really thinking about the McLaren Automotive, the modern day embodiment of McLaren. And this car's been around for quite a long time now, but if you speak to people who've driven it, if you speak to people who know, they'll always say, best McLaren ever made, 675LT. Let me walk you around this car because it is a truly, truly special thing, and I'm going to struggle to do it justice. I'm struggling with what's my favourite view of this car. I think the one you're looking at there is pretty special. So a 675LT Spider, there's only 500 around, but this is called the MSO Carbon Series 675LT, and there's only 25 of these, and in this particular colour there's just one, this one. And I am going to struggle, I think, to try and get the beauty of this car across on camera. It's a beautiful deep blue, but you may well be able to see from where you're looking at, this is an exposed weave carbon fibre car, so it's a beautiful thing. And when any manufacturer does an exposed carbon weave with just a coloured lacquer on top, that elevates the complexity and the difficulty of making the car, because you can see all the joins in the fibre. If you had a carbon fibre bodied car and then you just paint over the top, then that's a slightly different proposition. But here, the carbon weave is the beauty of the car. Now, these are based on a carbon tub anyway, so you know you'd have all of the kind of carbon fibre on the inside, but the bodywork is all carbon fibre, but it's just got this coloured lacquer, and it is so beautiful. So what I'm actually going to do is go handheld on the camera and just walk you around this car and point out some of the details of this car, and then I'm hoping the sunshine stays and the rain does one, and we can go for a drive and keep the roof down, because I'm a massive Spider fan. You should know by now I love my soft top cars, and for me this, the noise it makes, is a stunning sounding car, this. And we can take it for a drive and find some of my favourite roads near Newbury where we are right now. But let me just go handheld and show you around some of the details. Okay, a little bit different. I'm going to take you on a handheld walk around this absolutely stunning car. I've opened up the doors, but as soon as you start looking at the bodywork, you can see these side blades and then this deep blue colour, so difficult to get across on camera. But the deep metallic fleck in the lacquer over the carbon fibre work, and then you come around the back of the car. I've always thought these have a really good looking rear end. You've got this incredible venturi and diffuser, you've got the exhaust, but here, I don't know if you can see just here where the two lots of carbon fibre, you've got a carbon fibre weave going that way and one going that way, and they meet on this line, and then you come up here and that line's down the centre of the rear spoiler down here, and it follows all the way up there. That's the bit that makes an exposed carbon fibre weave car so difficult to produce. This active aero spoiler in the sunshine, just deep metallic flecks of exposed carbon fibre. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm trying to do my best to get the details and the colour. Underneath there, you got the pretty ubiquitous McLaren V8. Absolutely no doubt this thing's going to absolutely wail. And again, along here you can see the join in the carbon fibre running along here, and then you come into the cockpit based around the carbon tub. Now these cars now, I guess, you know, the age of them, I guess, what, 6-7 years now they've been around, so the infotainment system's going to be a bit outdated, but who cares? It's not about that at all. Let's wander around the front of the car. I've got the iconic doors up. Such a cool looking thing. And then if we zoom onto the front, again, maybe with the light as it is, you can see the join in the carbon fibre weave coming down here and comes all the way up the bonnet, past the McLaren badge, all the way along the front. It's a beautiful thing. Look at that. Now then, let's jump inside. I'll talk you through the inside controls and then we'll go for a drive. So now I'm sat in this car. The driving position is excellent, as you'd imagine, but I just love the feel of a McLaren steering wheel. They've got this, they're quite thin, but apparently they're modelled around Lewis Hamilton's hands, would you believe? But it's a stunning thing. It's got beautiful satin carbon work. And then down the central floating island, you've got all of the controls. And it's nice to look back in a car from, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. You've got proper buttons. You've got the 2 rotational switches for chassis and drivetrain. And they've got this blue contrasting that matches with some of the lettering on the 675LT down the side of the car. It's just a beautiful thing. These seats, I mean, it's like being sat in a race car. It's really very smart. I like the fact that there's carpet down here. Sometimes when you drive these the sort of 675 cars or the 650 cars, you get exposed carbon here, but this makes it just nice and feel really luxurious and comfortable. But it's just it's an incredible thing. So next thing we're going to do is set some cameras up and go for a drive while the weather's behaving itself. I don't have the car for very long, so I'm going to head off to some nice roads. I'm not going to be able to do anything too fancy, drive-bys and those types of things. I just want to try and immerse you in what it's like to drive this car. It's a very special car. It's worth an awful lot of money. I think I was trying to work it out before. I think it's probably one of the most expensive road cars I've ever driven. The current value of this car is about £500,000, and I've been given the key and told I can go and have a drive. Pinch me now. So let's get some cameras set up and go for a drive. Oh my God. Now then, we have made our way out of Newbury and we're on our way to one of my favourite roads in the nearby area. And I kind of just wanted to take you along for the ride, because driving a car like this, for me, is a real honour and a real privilege. It's a very rare car. As I said, there's only 25 of these MSO Carbon Series 675LTs in the world, and this is the only one in this colour, so it's a very special car. A massive thank you to the owner for letting me drive the car. I'm being very, very cautious. It's quite a cold day. It's pretty damp. This car gets an awful lot of looks, like that chap there. I'm on Trofeo R's as well, which are tyres that take an awful lot of warming up, and I'm just going to give this car a huge amount of respect. But I don't think this video's about me going 10 tenths down some wet B road. It's just about the immersion of driving such a special car. Just you can probably hear the whip cracks coming out of the exhaust at the back. So why is this car hailed by so many as the best McLaren ever made? I think for many it's the purity of it. It's got an amazing powertrain, but the way the chassis was set up and the sort of engagement levels it gives you are up there with any supercar. It may not be the most powerful or the fastest, especially if you compare it to many modern day cars. You know, you'd look at something like a McLaren, I don't know, 720S, or I guess the successor to this, the 775LT. Thanks McLaren for doing that, by the way. When you're doing a 675LT review, the fact that there's a 765LT doesn't help. You have to try and get it the right way round. But you just know you're in something special. Now, in terms of the two selector switches here, I've got both the chassis and the drivetrain set to sport. I had a chat with my mate Paul, who's got one of these, a coupe one of these, and he said that that's the best one to have. He's always also suggested I partially turn the ESC off. It's all right for you, mate. It's your car. This isn't mine. I'm being very good. I'm going to keep the ESC on. So let's go and find a nice bit of flowing B road. Visibility's really good. I mean, you've got fantastic view out of the front. You can see the slight bulge over the front wheels. I love those louvres on top of the front wings. All part of the aero, releasing the high pressure build up under the front wheel arch, very much like the GT4 RS I had the other week. The other thing, I'm in manual drivetrain. If you've never driven a McLaren before, a little bit different to a lot of cars with a flappy paddle gearbox, because the up and down shifters are on a rocker, so you can actually change up and down with one hand. Pull towards you to change up, push away from you to change down. Down, up, down. Quite like that. As I've said already, I don't have a huge amount of time with this car today, and I've also got no one to help me film, so I'm quite restricted in terms of what I can and can't do. I'm not going to be able to get any drive-by footage, so I just don't want to be jumping in and out of this car too much. But let's go and find a nice bit of B road. Here we go. Oh! Oh my days! Wow! The feel of the steering wheel in your hand is just so perfect. It's really beautiful. The brakes are quite progressive. I can see on the road there's a lot of debris on the road. It's quite damp. Super cautious. No time for heroes today, I don't think. Oh my God! Those whip cracks are unbelievable. They're also quite addictive, to be honest. The gearboxes of McLarens are always so sharp. Oh, wow. The other thing about this car is it gathers pace at an alarming rate. When you're driving in a 30 like this, the car's just basically just saying to you, come on, let's go quicker, come on. And it doesn't like being driven slowly. It's quite a wide car on the road, and one of the things, you know, you see these reviews on YouTube and other car reviewers driving cars, and you know, very often there'll be people who own cars of this level and of this stature, and I don't. And I'm quite honest, unless my lottery numbers come in, I'm never going to be able to afford a car like this. And to be able to drive a car of this value, £500,000 on the public road, is very special. So you always have that in the back of your head, but you can't you can't think about it too much, otherwise you just would never drive the car out at all. You have to trust your own driving capability and your own, you know, being sensible nature. And then once you do that, once you put that to one side, once you forget the fact that this is £500,000 worth of car, then you can start to enjoy yourself. But you never, ever let yourself forget what a supercar it is and what a privilege it is. Never. I mean, the noise, come on. Suspension's pretty firm. As I said, I've got the chassis in the sport setting, so a little bit firmer. This road is still very damp, and we've had such large amounts of rain over the last couple of days. There's a lot of runoff from the fields and stuff on the road, so you just have to be very careful and mindful of the low traction. As I said, I'm on Trofeos as well, which are the noise though. That said, you know, you've got the traction control systems looking out for you. I've still got everything turned on. I'm not completely stupid. Over this crest there's a nasty left. If you don't know the road, that can catch you out, I would have thought. Now I'm up behind the Golf R. The interesting thing down a road like this on a day like today, you'd probably get down it faster in that Golf R. It's not nearly as cool though, is it? Let's face it. Wow. Now the thing that's amazing me about this car is very often in Spiders, when you chop the roof off and you have to put the fold away roof somewhere, it compromises internal cabin space. I remember a few years ago now, I chucked the keys to a Huracan Spider, and I was gutted because I didn't actually fit in it. I literally couldn't get in it. This, I've had to pull my seat forward. It's cavernous in here. There's loads and loads of legroom. These seats are quite narrow. I'm quite narrow in the hip. If you were any wider stature, you might find them a little bit uncomfortable. Oh, I mean, seriously. But the driving position is just wonderful. I've got the steering wheel pulled nice and close to me, just how I like it. You feel really low and connected to the car. And now the road's kind of opening up a little bit. It's just a wonderful place. Now I'm lucky today, I've got weather that allows me to drop the roof. Oh my God. To drop the roof. That if you did have the roof up, the thing I love about a McLaren Spider, and I think they were one of the first supercar manufacturers to do it, is this rear window where I've got my GoPro attached drops when you've got the roof up, so you can still hear all of that wonderful V8 behind you. Because it is quite blustery and blowy when you've got the roof down. But let's face it, it's what you want, right? You want to be connected to the car and be connected to your environment on a beautiful bit of road like this. That's exactly what this car delivers. It's so well balanced. Intimidating as it is, it's actually building quite a high level of confidence in me already. But you can only scratch the surface of a car like this on the public highway. It's just so fast. 675 metric horsepower. That's nuts. Oh, see, this is the bit of road I've come to find. Look at that. What a road to drive a McLaren down. Absolutely beautiful. Bright sunshine, connected to the environment. Life doesn't get any better than this. Now this road surface it's actually pretty bumpy, to be fair. Oh, wow. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, I could just drive up and down this road until I run out of fuel. So let's just talk about the whole LT concept for a little bit, slow down and enjoy the road. So the long tail was something that came out of the Le Mans racing program with the F1 GTR. A longer tail, more aerodynamics, I guess it helped the sort of speed down the Mulsanne and that type of thing. And then they brought this out, the 675LT for long tail. And we've seen that moniker on a couple of cars. We saw it on the 600LT, which maybe up until today was my favorite McLaren. I always found the 600LT was a perfect balance of performance for my level of skill. I've driven it on track a couple of times, I've driven one on the road, and I really felt like I could tap into that car. And then with the 720S, the successor to this car, I guess, was the 765LT, 765 metric horsepower with a long tail. Now that car, that's a proper rocket ship. And for me, that's too much. I don't have enough talent for something like that. And many people are like, well, it doesn't really have a long tail, but it's just that, you know, slightly lighter weight, stripped back performance version of, or last hurrah to a car. This was the last hurrah to the 650S. The 765LT is the last hurrah to the 720S. Very cool. Oh my days. That exhaust just get you into a lot of trouble. So yeah, in summary, this car, it's pretty special. It's rocket ship fast, that's for sure. Come into this, you've got downshift into third, into second, front end in, it's got such beautiful balance. And actually there's a real technique to getting those whip cracks. It's not taking it all the way up to its 8,500 RPM red line. Change about 6.5 and you get these massive bangs out the back. Downshifts are so aggressive. You're never going to get bored of that, are you? Well, there you go. I could talk to you about this car forever. This video could be 5 hours long and it would still be, I wouldn't be getting bored, but I'm sure you would be. I have to say a massive thank you to Tracy and John from Podium Place for trusting me with this car today and letting me share it with you. It's such a special thing. It's such a great thing that a car of this rarity is being driven. You know, the owner wants it out there. It needs to be out and about being driven. Let me just drop it down a couple and have another whip crack on. But I'm going to enjoy this car for a little bit longer, I think. Turn the cameras off and just enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed that. I will be coming back to Podium Place to do more car content. They've got some incredible cars and hopefully we've got a relationship that will grow over time and I'll do more and more stuff with them. But if you enjoyed that, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome if you haven't done so already. Please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come and head over to Legacy Legends right now to buy yourself one of these new half-zip tops, my latest line in merch. But I'll see you on the next film, guys. You take care. Drive safe.